Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL, and we're back with another one of these patterns that I put together based on, basically it's the same thing that we've been running with so far this month. It's dots within series of rows. This time, this one is particularly easy. This is actually very beginner friendly. I think anybody who can do both a left knot and a right knot can make this one. It has 4 blues and they're all the same color of blue, and then 4 different reds. So my string goes up and loops down the other side, so you have the same number of reds coming down on either side, right? So it's, yeah, I get a lot of slack off of this because of the idea, like everybody wants to call this a 16 string bracelet, but there's 8 strings going up and over. So that's how you get 16, is this, there was 8 and then it looped back and came up with another 8, which number wise has always been a bit of a sore spot with me, because the number of strings itself should be, in my mind, it should be 8. So 4 blues and then 4 different shades of red: a dark, medium, and then a light. I guess that's how we'll call it. But anyways, the reds are all basically divided, darkest to the light. And what's different this time around is I have not changed the direction of the colors. So this red is just going to come straight across, and it makes it very different from some of the other ones. In a way, it's a lot easier, and in a way it's not, because the blue is making a right knot as we go down this left side, and the red is making a left. Now, as we go down the left-hand side, it's the blue is making left, and the reds will be going to the right. So each time you're changing up, you know, one knot, then the next is changing, and that does kind of slow things down. So that did make this take about 88 minutes in all to make it. Mind you, I think I was fairly distracted, and I could have maybe have done it just a little bit quicker. You will notice I do a bit of like a segmenting way of going about doing this as well. Like if I'm working on the right side, I stay working on the right side as long as I can, and then go to the left hand side when that's necessary, and then I stay on the left hand side for as long as that'll last. And this method is, like I said, it's a bit like segment knotting, but it's also came from the notion I used to work outdoors. I would go down to music festivals in the heart of Detroit, and I would sit and make bracelets. And with the wind blowing, it was a lot easier if you stayed to the side that you've already got kind of sorted out, because the wind is blowing your strings around. At least going back over something that you've already done is easier, because they are going to be the ones that are least tangled up. And then you can address the other side and make sure those get untangled, and work it kind of gradually that way. So that's kind of how I learned the technique, and then in turn have discovered that it does in fact help with the time just a little bit. In fact, I think so we've been basing a lot of this whole time idea, like how long it takes, on the first bracelet that started off this series. I don't put them all together until I've already taken the photographs that'll go into the website. But since I've done that, it turns out that first one that I've been comparing everything to is shorter than these other ones that I've been comparing the times to. So it is quite possible that because it was just a repetitive pattern and I didn't count it out properly, that the first one where I was saying that it was only like 75 minutes, it is actually a bit shorter than the rest. So the time is actually, that one should have taken a bit longer, I believe. So I haven't quite gotten all scientific or anything on it, but just at first glance, I am now suspecting that there was something a little bit different about that one. But anyways, this pattern was particularly nice because it doesn't, you don't have to think much about it. Just the colors come straight out from one side to the other. Not a problem. I had the pattern up on my computer screen, but only to remind me where the center was going to be, because it goes from dark to light again, and then there's a smaller like dark center space, and then it comes out. And I just wanted to make sure that I kind of knew what I was doing right there. But because it did that, once the center part was over with, kind of the race to the end was super easy, because I knew that it would go to dark and then to dark again to finish up the whole bracelet. And yeah, that made this really pretty awesome. That was pretty cool. And again, it's a good reason why I would say that this is very beginner friendly. So you can see we've already gone through all of the dark to light, and we're starting the dark again. Yeah, it was really cool. Like I said, the only downside is the changing directions every time you're on the rose with the red. But not too difficult, not too painful at all. Probably good practice, I'd say. There's a lot of patterns that can actually work off of that kind of a design. So I think we're running out of patterns for this series. I think there's just one more that I kind of came up with while I was working on this, and then we're gonna have to go work on something else. I don't know what yet, but yeah, I have one more idea of what I think would be pretty neat for this series. So yeah, something to look forward to. Trying to remember like any clever notions that I had while I was doing this, which if anybody knows like a clever way of taking notes, like hands-free taking notes, I'm really kind of curious, because I don't want to like pause the video to like write out my thoughts. So if there's like a hands-free way of doing it where I don't have to sit and listen to 80 minutes of mostly silence for the occasional epiphanies, if anybody's got an idea on that, I'm really curious. Yeah, anyway, yeah, it really is pretty. I'm not sure that like on the camera, like seeing just this little bit of it, you can realize like how intense the pattern is. I have it in my hand, and the way the fade works, it's so subtle, and with the light pink actually being lighter than the blue that we did, it's a subtle effect that goes on in this bracelet that I absolutely think is stunning. I think this is really a fun pattern, and any colors of contrast will work with this. So if you want to go red and greens, although that might look a little bit more like a strawberry, if you wanted to go with like say purple and yellows, whatever you want, just as long as there's a nice little contrast, I think it'll turn out looking really, really cool. Wait, this is going to end abruptly. I know we're kind of getting near the center, not quite there yet, but let's go ahead and thank my YouTube members who make this stuff possible. Go through a lot of string around here. I know I say that a lot, but when you get like shipments of 8 kg of embroidery floss, it's safe to say, yeah, that's kind of a lot of embroidery floss. And it's through their help and that make it possible. If you're interested in becoming a member, you want your name up on the list, it's really easy. It's the join button down next to subscribe over there on YouTube. It would mean the world to me. I really honestly appreciate every single one of those people on that list, and I try to make it as nice for them as possible. They get to see videos early, they get the little smiley face when they're in the chats during the live stream. They get all the patterns early, and they get hangouts once a month. First Sunday of the month, we hang out and talk about all kinds of random stuff, and yeah, it's usually a lot of fun. Oh yeah, here is the actual center. So that dark red changes its directions. It's the only forward backward knot there is, or I really don't like that. Left, right, right, left. Those the only knots that do it is right there. The dark red. They're the only ones that does that change of direction thing. And this makes up the center. So that this area right here might be the most difficult part of the whole thing. And that said, it's really not so hard at all. It just changes its direction, and now the light one comes in. Yeah. So there's only 2 knots that actually change directions, and they are the dark red in that corner. So yeah. And I have to say, the texture to this is kind of nice. It turned out really well. Like it doesn't have that weird ribbed thing like we got when we went with the bracelet, where it went straight across each time. It's more balanced. It's more even. I like it. Yeah, and now it's just basically running it out, going down the opposite direction, which I have to say, no more difficult going the other direction than the first. Pretty much the same kind of stuff. I don't even think it changed much. Like sometimes you can kind of see it on the edges, but no. It really is pretty much the same all the way across. Yeah, so if you guys have questions and stuff, please leave it in the comments. I'm always open for ideas and willing to try to help you guys out with your projects as well. So yeah, although I have to say, I was recently asked about alpha patterns, and I'm afraid I just don't make alpha bracelets. I'm sorry, but I don't. I kind of understand the concept, how it works. I did make an alpha bracelet bag once, just to try it, and for the most part, I don't enjoy them. It feels like it takes longer to get anything accomplished, as well as making a pattern do whatever you want feels like cheating. Like for me, like a lot of the fun of this is the puzzle aspect of trying to create a pattern using just 4 different knots. Like there is something inherently challenging about that I really do enjoy. And being able to just make any image, whether like an 8-bit type thing or even more intense images, it just really feels like cheating. So hopefully you can appreciate the style I like, and understand that I really I can't answer a lot of questions with the alphas because I'm just not experienced with them. So but beyond that, I'm willing to try. I've made countless bags because somebody was pointing out an aspect that maybe I didn't cover, or, hadn't already tried it. So a lot of the stuff that I've created was specifically to help you guys to learn how to make things, So yeah, even this whole series with the making this kind of pattern, the idea is from one bracelet design, something that kind of sparked an idea in my head, to now there's 4, 5, there'll be 6 different versions of it, right? So one pattern turning into so many other types of patterns, right? I think if I can inspire you guys to see how that happened and how I go about making the patterns based on that, it might help you to see a pattern that you like, maybe some aspect of a pattern, and that you'll be able to take it and run with it and come up with something completely new and different. And I think that would be awesome. I think that'd be really super cool. So yeah, there's only a few more rows here. I am really working so far away from the clip. Like, I'm so kind of used to it now that I don't think about it much. But now that like I see it up on the screen as I'm watching this, like, wow, that's really far. Like, that's unadvisedly far from the clip. And you can see periodically it wants to kind of float off to the right. You'll see me occasionally tugging it back to being nice and straight. So that's kind of the key in how you get your bracelet straight, is to make sure that you're guiding it as it starts to veer. As soon as it starts to veer, you get it back to center. I seriously can't think of what else to tell you guys. But I really have enjoyed this series. I really have. And hopefully you guys have too. Hopefully you guys have gotten a little something out of me, you know, rambling on and tying knots and all kinds of, you know, different ways, trying to show that the same pattern can be done differently. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. I personally have enjoyed the challenge of it myself. And I look forward to more challenges like this. It just takes me to find a pattern that really suits this type of series. So I'm not going to give it its own playlist. It's just another one of the bracelet designs I've done. So that is what it is. But here we are. We're coming into the last part here. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. And yeah. Oh, and I show you the back of it here too, because the back is really sharp. Anyways, thanks for everything. As always, don't get your strings in a bunch.